Obamacare. According to the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office, the president's signature health care law could reduce the labor force by the equivalent of 2.5 million jobs. 2.5 million jobs. They say it's the equivalent of a 15% tax paid by each worker. Republicans immediately pounced.
The CBO report today, devastating 2 million fewer jobs as a result of the Obama health care law.
But Democrats are crying foul.
The Republicans talk about losing millions of jobs simply isn't true.
All right. Here's the question. How damaging is this report to the president? I want to bring in CNN political commentator Paul Begala and the editor of the Weekly Standard, Bill Kristol. Two perfect people to talk about this. When one side says the other is stupid and the other side says the same thing, it's perfect. But Paul, Republicans are jumping all over it. National Republican Congressional Committee quickly tweeted. The CBO just reported, hashtag Obamacare will push 2.5 million Americans out of the workforce. This is a pretty damning report when you look at it. It is, as the CBO says, an average tax of 15% per worker.
What? It's please, it's not a damning report. Now, the Republicans aren't stupid. They're really smart. They're just less than fully honest about this, shall I say. The report is great. It says $1 trillion reduction in the deficit, in the debt. $1 trillion. All my Republican friends have been squealing about the debt like a pig stuck under a gate. This makes a huge down payment on the Bush debt. Second, it says, it doesn't say the jobs will be lost. It doesn't. It says people will freely choose, perhaps to retire early. Maybe they have a chronic back problem. They can't keep working. They'll be free, rather, to retire early before they get Medicare, because now they'll have health care. Or maybe new parents, new moms and dads, I'm thrilled you're back, but a whole lot of new parents may well choose, now that they have health care, to stay home with their kids. And that's a good thing. This is called freedom. And some of the coverage on this has been really deceptive.
All right, so Bill Kristol, and as Paul points out, the report doesn't say employers are cutting jobs. It does say people will choose to work less because they're going to choose to get the subsidies instead of working. So, okay, is that all right? Killing jobs is a fair characterization or not?
That's great. We could just give everyone subsidies and no one would have a job, and then Paul would think that's wonderful. You know, everyone gets to retire and no one works. I thought there's a serious problem of unemployment and long-term unemployment in this country, and it turns out Obamacare is contributing to it already and will contribute to it more in the future. Look, Obamacare is a wonderful liberal social program. If you like your insurance, you lose it. If you like your doctor, you lose her. And now if you like your job, you lose it. It's like a perfect example of liberals' big government social engineering. It's going to be for decades in public policy schools as the example of the failure of liberal public policy. The only problem is, unfortunately, it's hurting the country now, so we're going to have to repeal it as soon as possible.
I mean, Paul, it does seem, I mean, I understand your point. By the way, about the deficit reduction, that's a serious point, all right? But in terms of the jobs, is it really a good thing? You raised some points, but is it really a good thing if people, because of subsidies, choose not to work? Is that really what you want to encourage?
Not because of subsidies, because of values. They have a new baby they want to care for. They have a sick mom they want to care for her. They have a bad back. They're now free to retire.
But certainly there will be some people who just choose to because of the math, won't there?
No, they will choose to because of their values. Values always trump economics in people's real lives. And I will point out, by the way, 8.1 million private sector jobs created by this economy since Obamacare passed, the most robust period of job growth that we've had since, frankly, my old boss Bill Clinton was in the White House, and 85 to 90% of those jobs full-time. There's a big thing, oh, it's going to push people out of full-time work. It hasn't. You've had 85 to 90% of the new jobs created have been full-time jobs. So this thing has been a huge winner, actually, and I hope Democrats will kind of get off defense and play offense.
Bill, what about the point that he's trying to say, though? Values trump economics. Do you buy that, or are some people going to say, hey, look, if I'm going to have a subsidy, I'm not going to have a job, and go ahead and jump on the system?
Look, I do think values trump economics, and I think one value we believe in here in America is freedom, and people should be free to have the insurance they want, which Obamacare does not permit them to do. And if you disincentivize hiring, if you disincentivize employment, you'll get less of it. And long-term unemployment is a big problem in this economy, and the president has complained a lot about it. It's his policies that are helping to cause it.
All right. Let me ask you, Paul, this isn't the president's only clash with the right this week. People like Bill Kristol are getting to him. Here's part of the president's conversation with Bill O'Reilly on Sunday when O'Reilly asked about a topic the president hates. I'm not talking about Benghazi. I'm talking about the IRS.
We still don't know what happened there.
Bill, we do. That's not what happened. Folks have, again, had multiple hearings on this. I mean, these kinds of things keep on surfacing. in part because you and your TV station will promote them.
And then, Paul, the president went on to call O'Reilly unfair. He told The New Yorker recently he's had trouble persuading the Republican base. He's not the caricature that you see on Fox News. I mean, is he giving Fox too much credit? Is he focusing on them, giving them too much power, frankly, by the president of the free world keeping talking about them?
That's a fair point, but he was in a conversation with Mr. O'Reilly. I suspect if you were interviewing him, he, I would hope, would not have gone out of his way to mention that. I don't know if any of our viewers have ever seen it, but Fox News it's this comedy channel that pretends to be news. It's hilarious.
I'm
but
sure
it's
none
not
of them have ever seen it. I mean,
it's not on the level, and I love that. And let me give you the fair point here. On the IRS, for example, how much did Fox cover the fact that the same Inspector General who originally said Tea Party groups were being targeted, which if true is reprehensible, also reported that progressive groups were targeted? Fox didn't cover that part.
Phil, you used to work for Fox.
I did. It was fair, balanced, unafraid. They report. They report. You decide. I guess the president has some problems with it. The president thinks everyone should be somewhere between. CNN is sort of, he's okay with a balanced network, but most networks should be like MSNBC. All the news should come out of a 10-square block radius in Manhattan, which is dominated by liberals on the Upper West Side and the Upper East Side. God forbid that there should ever be another point of view. I think that's the president's view. But I do think he's probably giving Fox too much credit, honestly, but I'm sure Fox is happy to take it.
Well, that's probably true. And, of course, you know, when you get someone who's on the right of things in the White House, I'm sure they'll say exactly the opposite.
Actually, to be fair, George W. Bush did not complain, actually, about the media, to his credit.
Not about
and I do
Fox.
think it shows a kind of, about the media at all. It shows Barack Obama, President Obama is surprisingly thin-skinned for the President of the United States.
All right. Well, you left Paul speechless. I'll give you credit for that, gentlemen.
I just didn't want to interrupt, but I thought the president did a good job of standing up for the truth against a propaganda machine.
Thanks to both. And we'll look forward to having them back. Still to come, new developments in the Philip Seymour Hoffman investigation. Just a couple weeks before his death, Hoffman told our guest, "I'm a heroin addict." That haunting story is out front. Plus, Google under fire. Protesters say